This training is going to take you through the Graduate Program Modification, or Curriculog form number 6. The first thing we're going to do is navigate to Curriculog. You can do that through AP One Stop Faculty Services tab, and there's a link, or simply apsu.curriculog.com. Once you're on that page, you're going to select Login from the top right, and you're going to log in with your single sign-on credentials. If you happen to have been logged into another APSU service or have logged into Curriculog and logged out, sometimes when you click Login, it'll take you right back in. At the very top, you'll see Curriculog with some headings. Under that, you're going to either see a My Task or a My Proposals tab. Both of these will have Filter By and New Proposal. We're going to go over and click on New Proposal. Then we're going to scroll down the list of all these forms to form number 6. As you hover over that, we're going to go to the right and select the check mark and launch the form. You'll notice it looks kind of like a split screen. On the right, you're going to see each step that this proposal is going to go through before it receives approval. And on the right is what you're actually going to work on. So now we're working on a revision. So something exists and we just need to make changes to it. So the first thing you're going to do on the left is select your program radio button. Now we can import from the bulletin. To do this, you're going to go up to this darkish blue line, click on Import. It's going to open an integration manager, and you're going to be able to select the bulletin. Once you select your bulletin, you're going to select your Filter By field, and you're going to scroll down and do Name. Once you do that, you're going to get a white box above, and you're going to type in the name of the program. So for instance, let's see, we're going to do Strategic Leadership. And then you're going to search available curriculum. Once you search, it's going to pull up any applicable programs. You can select that there by clicking, and it's going to pull up so you can review and make sure you have the right program. And then you're going to import this item. This is going to go through, it's going to take a little bit of time because it's going to fill in some of your asterisk items that are automatically coming over from the bulletin. So now we're going to scroll down and we're going to start filling in the rest of the asterisk items. So we're going to start with the semester of the year we want the changes to be implemented. If the department didn't populate, you're going to just be able to select that from the drop-down list. A lot of times it should populate. This one did not because it had a name change, and that's where it was creating a small issue. Then you're going to give us the current major title. So the major title for this is Leadership and Organizational Management. Sorry, Administration. And then the current concentration name. The proposed major name, we need to update that. And you can copy and paste into these fields. Some of these you would change, like current and proposed, if we were trying to change the name of the major. So let's say that's what we're doing here. We're going to change this from Leadership and Organizational Management to Leadership Science. To match the undergrad, we would put the new major title in there. The concentration here, again, these can be the same. The program title for import, this is what we're actually pulling back into the bulletin. So as many of you know, when you look at the bulletin, each major or concentration has its own page. So we would title this Strategic Leadership Concentration. And then when we shoved that back into the bulletin, when we pulled the approved form out, it would go into this heading. Then it's going to give us that this is a type of modification. This says concentration because that's what I pulled with Strategic Leadership. And the degree designation is the Master of Science in Leadership. You're going to tell us about your description. So what are we doing? We are updating the major name for consistency. This does not have to be robust, just a couple sentences, a couple words telling us what you're doing. How is this delivered? Clarksville, Fort Campbell, both, and the method it's done. This can be done online. If it can be done either, you can select all that apply. You're going to tell us a little bit about your distance learning, what can be offered there. So for this one, it's all courses. We're not phasing this out or terminating, so this box is not relevant. Then you're going to, again, have to talk about how it's more relevant than its undergraduate counterpart, how the graduate students more utilize the knowledge for the discipline in the program, and their ongoing engagement. Then you're going to give us a program description. If nothing has changed and there was a program description, it should populate here. If there is not one and you want one, you can just type it in here. So you're going to describe the concentration. Then it's going to list the courses. So let's say for this, we're just changing the name. You're not going to do anything here. If we wanted to change a course, let's say we needed to remove a course, you can click on the trash can. If it's attached to something, you're going to get a button that tells you can't do it. If that happens, you can go to curriculum schema, select where it falls. So is it something that's required or an elective? You would go under that heading, you would find the course. We're just going to say we're going to delete 50/50. Then you would go back to your main page and then it would allow you to remove that. And you could do that for any courses. If you needed to add a course, you could go in here, click add course. Let's say we're creating a new one. Type in your number, type in the course and add it. If we're adding a course, let's say we want to import a course and we want to add an HHP course. You would click import, you would select your bulletin. In your filter by field, this is just like selecting the course when we imported the revision. We're going to select prefix. We're going to add an HHP course. We're going to search, select the course you want. It's going to add it to your list, add to proposal, and it's going to put it in here with the other courses. And then you can add it into your schema where it goes. So let's say we're going to want this to be a required course now. We're going to click on the schema. Drop that down, click on add courses, and voila, it has added there. Again, you're going to answer these questions about double dipping. Should it share? Yes or no? What should it share with? Does it have an oral or a written comp at the end? How does it align with Austin Peay's strategic plan and mission? And again, we have links to all of these. What is the background for the change? So tell us how your faculty arrived at it. Is there any impact? Some things there's not going to be an impact on the student. Changing a major name is not really going to impact their completion. If we're adding or removing courses, you would tell us a little bit about that impact. So if we're removing a course isn't taught, streamlines the student's time to completion, things like that. And then tell us how they're going to be notified. So is it advising? Is it bulletin? Is it just, you're not really going to notify them because it's just an elective change. If there's competency changes because of an accreditor, you'll want to fill that in. If you're changing anything with your admission or retention, we'll need to know that. Current faculty, if we're not changing anything with current faculty or accreditation, these can just be NA. Then you're going to give us a list of programs. So for this, if it's not a new concentration, so we're just changing a major name, we're just modifying course, you can put not applicable here. Really, if we're creating a new concentration, that's when we're going to need to know what other schools have a program with a concentration aligned. And then those would go in here. Now you're going to get to the type of change. So are we adding a degree designation? Are we changing it? Are we consolidating? Are we renaming? You're going to pick the one that best fits here. Most of the time for these, we're modifying the program or the graduation requirements. You can also select more than one name change. And then that's going to determine the route that the proposal is going to follow. If it's other, then you're going to list this here. For terminating a program, what is the phase out date? So what is the last point we're going to allow students to graduate? Typically, we go 6 years out because that is how long the bulletin is good for. And again, you're going to have to give it a zip code if it's new concentration. Again, we have the NCES link, but zip codes are tied to a major. So if we're doing a new zip code, you would just align that to the major code. So if it's a new concentration under ag, it would go with the ag code. Concentrations don't have their own yet. Then you're going to tell us if there's any cost associated with it. If so, what? If there's any financial impact on students. Program student learning outcomes. Again, if this is a new concentration, you will need to develop these. If we've significantly changed the program, or if we've changed it enough that it could change your SLOs, you're going to want to update those here. And again, this assessment is going to align with your IE plan. How are you going to assess? What are you going to assess? Who is going to assess? When are you assessing? And how are you going to use that data? Those are the things that go in here and directly relate to your IE plan. Then you're going to answer our questions. Have you told us about library resources or anything needed? Is it going to license a student? Yes or no? If yes, it's going to need to go through TEC. If no, it does not. If it has certain symbols, a club, a spade, they're going to require certain approvals. So you're going to want to select these appropriately. And does this require SACS approval? Yes or no? This is going to be something, again, that is determined externally. So if you are creating a new concentration or you're significantly altering the program, this feeds back to the academic intake form, form number 2, and that's when you would have filled that out, and we would let you know if it's a sub-change. Then you're going to acknowledge that you've completed the form. If it's applicable, did you do your financial projection? Did you do a graduate degree map? Did you do a side-by-side? Or a program form if it's a new concentration? You told us what was changing, how it was changing. If applicable, you've done your degrees. You've attached any information from your accreditor, course descriptions for new courses, or you've given us a teach-out plan if we're terminating. So once you've checked off all those, once you have navigated over to your files icon, chosen your files for anything that needed to be uploaded, and selected upload so that they were there, you can validate and launch your proposal. Again, if there's errors, it'll come up with a show me message. You can navigate to what has not been completed. If everything is done, you're going to get the launch proposal. You'll launch. Again, you can still make changes here because it still belongs to you. So if you realize, oh, I forgot to put that in, you can scroll back up to where you need it. You can add it in. If it's an attachment you forgot, you can go over to files. You can add it back in. Once you are completely done, you're going to select your decisions icon. Select approve and make my decision. This is now moved out of your box. You will not be able to go in and make changes to it. An administrator can. So if there's something you need to add or change, you can email me. I can send it back to you. If it's something big, if it's something small, I can just make that change for you. And then it'll start going through the official approval process. So now you've completed your program modification. Thank you very much.